Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to have a bit of a beginner's gamble. So this stone is a very small financial investment, and it's the kind of stone that has always treated me incredibly well with Boulder. So as you can see, Queensland Boulder Opal, tiny little seam. It's actually a fairly straight seam, so that makes things a little bit easier, but it's going to be very tough, especially when we're trying to follow this little fine line here. If we look at the tiny part that is exposed though, you can see hints of ocean blue, that greeny blue and then that deeper dark blue. Imagine peeling all of this off and getting that across the entire face. That's what we've got to have in our minds when we're working on this one. You can see the bar goes all the way around the little seam, peters out towards this side here, especially this top corner, comes back along here, right along here, back to here. Now things you want to look for are these little bubbles. That tends to mean you're going to have some air pockets kind of in amongst the seam, so we're going to hope that they're just on the edges and not in the heart of it. But if you do see them on the edge, there's a good chance they're going to be throughout the stone. We just don't want too many. And also because we're going right down to a fraction of a millimeter over here, and it even peters out I reckon just before this edge here, we are probably not going to get the entire face. We've also got it tapering really hard down to here, so even if we get a good piece of material here, we're going to have a really thin backing. Not the end of the world, there are ways to get around it. And also if you look in this tiny corner here, when you see this kind of yellowy sand, that's always a lot softer. We really want to minimize how much of that is near the stone, near the actual stone that we want to keep. But from what we can see, look at that, nice little flash, that purple blue is still coming through right on this tiny thin bit in that really bad corner. If we can see a bit of colour there, and we can see the bar all the way around and a bit of colour here, we are going to peel this all the way back. Of course, coarse grit, 80 grit, sintered diamond burr, we're just going to buzz straight through here. I'll definitely jump forwards in the footage for that, and you can join in right before the big reveal. Or hopefully a big reveal. If it's disappointing, then whatever. Place your bets now, because I'm going to spin up and let's see what we get. So here we are, 80 grit sintered diamond, and we are going to just trace around that vein, much like you do with the seam of an opal. If you want to just have a look at that full colour bar, you just go around the edge and have a quick look. I'm doing the same thing here because I want to see where this one actually starts, and if whether when it's really thin it has any colour at all. You can see there we're just not seeing much. It's still pretty brown. There seems to be a faint line there, but maybe my eyes are just seeing things. We've got to go a little bit deeper, and I'm pushing just super hard with the 80 grit. We're not too worried about going a little bit too far. A couple of mils too deep and you lose not very much, so at this point it's not super critical. Just drill in and have a look. If we skip forward just a little bit, you can see here I am pushing very hard, making a pretty good mess, but I cut inside a glass box so it doesn't go everywhere. It's very helpful. And now if we have another look, you can see there it is, and anywhere you can see it, there's a nice little purple flash, so really good. That's exactly what we want to see. I'd like to see it widen very quickly, but we won't know that until we cut right up to it. So to get to it, what we're going to do is we're going to grab that 80 grit sintered diamond again and grind through about an inch worth of ironstone. As you can see, you can push pretty hard and just take a big shark bite straight out of it. This would take you a few hours, so we want to be working smarter, not harder. We're carving, it already takes too long, so just get a blade out and just slice right up close to it, and then switch back to that 80 grit and get to a point like this. So you can see I'm starting to get glimpses of this colour coming through all over the place, but I'm not going right down onto it. If we look really carefully, you can see these little areas where these pockets kind of form. Every now and then the ironstone doesn't adhere very well to the opal and it'll actually come popping off, so that'll give you your first signs that you're getting really close to the colour bar. Now here I'm still grinding over the top of the ironstone areas but not the opal areas. It really is a little bit scary, so when you want to stop is exactly the point in time when you stop becoming comfortable. So you can see here I'm very confident, so I can keep going a little bit more. But as soon as you've got opal opening up all over the place and you start to think, oh, if I hit that opal section, I'm going to really chip it or scratch it up, that's when you want to switch to your higher grit burrs. And in this case, because it's ironstone, you can jump straight to the 600, which is what we'll do. But I also want to point out those pockets. So I talked about the little air bubbles in the edges of the stone. This is what you find inside the stone a lot of the time, if those pockets are there. You get these little wormies that look like they've just eaten parts of the color bar. Super unfortunate. Does happen a lot, but if you just keep on working on a bunch of stones, every now and then you will get ones where that just doesn't happen at all and it's a huge win. They also do give you a big early warning sign that you're getting close to the opal bar so you can stop. And now you can see we're going to switch over to the 600 grit sintered diamond and we are just going to remove all the little spots in the face. It is super satisfying. It looks really annoying, but when you're actually doing it and you're watching these things disappear, super satisfying. Some of the most fun you can have in opal. You can see here, I'll just work on this little spot over the bottom edge, and I'm not drilling straight down onto it. You still want to be sweeping over it to make sure you're not creating any little dimples or divots. That becomes really hard to polish. You still want a nice smooth opal at the end. But you can see here, just very light pressure, spinning pretty slowly as well, and just grinding all up and down and across that little spot. And each pass you do, you can see it just gets less and less. Eventually, it just completely disappears and you're just left with opal. Now, you could switch to something like a sandpaper burr or maybe a resin diamond burr. I'm very confident with my 600 grit diamond burr. I've spent thousands of hours with one and I just know how it's going to behave. When you get really good with it, you will end up using the 600 a lot and you'll almost get to the point where all of the imperfections are gone. Any little chips, any little ironstone spots, you can get rid of all of it with the 600. It is a super delicate, gentle tool. So don't be too afraid of it. You'll make heaps of mistakes when you're starting out and you'll go a little bit too far, but you'll learn from every single one of those. And eventually you'll get good enough to be able to just use that 600 right until you want to start going through your polishing stages. So here you can see the opal after that little spot's disappeared, and you can see how many other spots I've still got to go. So wish me luck, I'm going to drill on it and I'll meet you at the end. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you saw it just before I went over to the 600 grit sintered diamond, and the basic aim was to rub out as many of those little spots as possible. So last chance, place your bets on whether it worked out or not. The answer is, it half worked out. So if I flip it over, you'll see here, we had a couple little wormies eating through the colour bar and into the ironstone, so unfortunately that kind of area is never going to quite work out. Where the best colour is actually the transition into the dodgy lands. So it's almost like a bit of a yin-yang stone. This corner here, unfortunately I couldn't quite get that one finished off, and you can see there's just this clear divide where we've got that nice little colour river almost through the middle of the stone, and then we become a little bit ironstone-like, and that is, of course, towards that edge of the bar that was super, super thin. So this is always something that can happen. Sometimes it is just nice all the way through, but yeah, as soon as it gets really thin like that and you have to hunt to find the edge of the bar, you're kind of in trouble. And it was thin all the way around, but this area here turned out okay. This has nice foily colour as well, because it's right up against that ironstone where it gets that black effect. But unfortunately it's not great. The option is that I keep it like this as a bit of a 50-50 stone, just shape it up, take off this top part because it's not contributing at all, and end up with a stone kind of like that. Bit of a picture-ish stone. Or the other option is to cut off the dodgy and go for a clear teardrop here, but then you just got this colour along the edge. I mean, the bottom section here looks okay, but then you've got this potchy pool coming in through that corner. Not ideal. Neither stone is ideal. But this is the kind of stone you can get in a $200 parcel, where each stone is worth, I don't know, 10, 20 bucks. The better ones are definitely the ones that make the money back, and then you just got a lot of these gamble ones where they either work out or they don't. And in this case, 50-50 work out. I don't know. You guys can leave in the comments what you think I should do with this one. I'm pretty open to anything. It was a fun stone to work, a lot of learning can be done from it, and it is great practice. For those starting out with Boulder Opal, you learn a lot tackling stones like this because you'll see issues like this very commonly. It's part and parcel of the game, and it's also some of the best stones you'll work on, because if this side works out, just imagine how good that is. It's one of the better feelings in Opal when you can get a stone like that to work out. And here we kind of got halfway there, but you can see it just peters out. I'm even thinking now of slicing this, but then keeping the two halves together, and maybe making some sort of pendant where there's a good half and a bad half. There's some cool symbolism in that. But anyway, we gave it a crack, and hopefully you can learn from at least the techniques behind how to get to this point, because sometimes it really does work out, other times it half works out, and sometimes you just fail completely and it's just a complete dud of a stone. You can certainly go ahead and give this a full polish all the way through. You're just going to have to keep in mind that that ironstone is going to be there forever. Either way, the education's there, so hopefully that helps some of you guys starting out. Don't let it scare you off. It is actually the most fun when you're attacking those little spots and watching them clear up. You can see I just got one in there that didn't clear up, but a lot of those other ones did, and if that happens across the entire face of the stone, trust me, you're super happy, even if it takes you an hour. Every little spot disappearing just fills you with more motivation. So good luck, get cracking on your stones. As always, I'm always open to questions, so reach out to me, Facebook, website, email, whatever works. You'll be able to find me. I've got to put this stone down and go work on the next one, so stay safe, have fun, and good luck.